All right, things are looking good here. Seeing the stream now. What's going on, everyone? And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is show number 222. Your spot on Sunday nights to just kick back with a cold one and relax to some Xbox talk and a little more from around the game industry. Of course, this is your pal Invader, and I'm stoked here to get into all the topics tonight. We got lots of good stuff to go over. Epic had their showcase for Unreal Engine 5. We'll go over what we liked from that. Also, 343 Industries, they dropped some info along with a new trailer for Season 2 of Halo Infinite. We'll give you our thoughts on it. And a surprise addition to the Xbox spring sale that is making many wonder, well, we'll be seeing some RTS game announcements very soon for the console. Kind of makes you wonder. But before we dive into all that, let's get to some of the outros. Starting off with Centurion. Buddy, pal, how you been?
Doing good, man. It is Sunday night. It is time to have some fun. Crack one open if you got it. Man, it is time to play some, talk games. I've been playing way too many damn games. I was telling Invader, I don't know how I pulled it off this week, but I was able to complete Mass Effect 1, go into starting to play Mass Effect 2, keep up with the events in ESO, play a little bit of Godfall because I am a fan of that game. Don't care what people say about it. And I have been playing way too much damn freaking Lego Star Wars. That game is absolute fun.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were just talking about it before we went live here. Seeing lots of love for Lego Star Wars. Seems pretty good graphically. It looks pretty nice with all the lighting and textures. Really impressive stuff for a Lego game, in my opinion. But yeah, been hearing good stuff. Moving on down the list here, Crusader buddy. What's new and exciting?
Oh, nothing much is super new with me. Just been playing a ton of Skyrim, modded on my PC, and been playing a bunch of Lego Star Wars as well, because that game is incredible. So far, it's my favorite game that I've played this year. And Centurion, happy to hear that you're playing Mass Effect, man. Everyone knows that I'm a super duper Mass Effect fan, if you can't tell by my profile picture.
I've completed those games multiple times. Those games never get old for me.
so good. I do a yearly pilgrimage back to them at least once a year. So yeah, I'm super excited to be on tonight. Great topics. Super excited for the RTS topic.
Yeah, I know you are, and to be honest, I'm kind of chomping at the bits to get into that one too. I find it really interesting, but we'll save it for later on.
Yeah.
And what else? Who do we got here on the list? Shockley buddy, Eric. Hey, how you been the past week?
Pretty good. Not been doing too much. Just been trying to fix my PC woes. I don't know what happened with that, but I can't get to my boot screen to do anything. So it's like, I don't know if I have to shell out money to go to, I don't even know if like someone like Geek Squad could do anything with it. It's just like stuck in an infinite boot loop. But other than that,
you're still having issues with that, really?
Well, I forgot I had like a spare because I needed to make that USB boot bootable. But I think when you plug it into your PC, if your priority is for it to go with the hard drive from your PC and not the thumb drive, it keeps wanting to go to whatever the internal hard drive, which doesn't, for some reason, the Windows is kind of broken on there. So it's like, well, I can't get to the boot screen to change the priority because it just like won't register whenever you hit the hotkeys. Like I think for Asus it's like F8 for desktops, but I tried everything, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if I can figure something out. But yeah, I haven't been doing too much. Didn't get to finish Tunic. Did finish Kirby though. That one's definitely dope. So definitely, and I was surprised it had like kind of like a I kind of beat the game, but then there's kind of like a end game in a sense, where it's even more challenging. Um, so played through that. So yeah, that one's definitely a dope game. Definitely better than Mario Odyssey in my opinion. But yeah, that's probably the deepest or like most fully packaged Kirby game ever made, easily. So it was definitely worth the $60. So
It's funny you say that
definitely
because I've been playing through it the past week and I've been really enjoying my time with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Really fun 3D platformer. Right now, I just finished the boss, the world, that theme park area. So how many more worlds are after that? Would you say, like, areas?
I think there's a total of like, because after you like beat it, you kind of go through them in a different. They've just been they look different and kind of been reworked. But if I want to say there's like 6 or 7 in total.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
but yeah, so I mean, and they're pretty well packaged, and but yeah, you'll once you finally beat it, and then when you're going through like the worlds again that have all been kind of reworked, they actually have different boss remixed like names, and the bosses look different, like stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's definitely well packaged. It's not just kind of like, hey, these are the same exact levels, and then they just are slightly different. They're like there's some new things to them. So yeah, definitely pick that one up if you got a Switch and not much to play. So
Mm-hmm. Well, I concur with what Eric's saying. I'm so far really enjoying my time with Kirby. So yeah, if you got a Switch, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun so far. Plus, hey, I'm a big fan of 3D platformers with colorful worlds, and the gameplay is on point. Let's see. Timmy's running a little bit behind from the looks of it. We will get to him later. He'll sneak in. And hey guys, remember we just went live, so we're about to get into the first topic. So definitely share this show out, give this show a thumbing up, a good like, and hey, if you're new to the channel, give us a sub. We got a lot of good shows in the past. You can catch up with us, or hey, be prepared for whenever our next show goes live. Also, hit the notification bell, guys, for when we go live. Always good to hit that because YouTube. I don't know, YouTube is kind of weird when it comes to that stuff. But thank you guys in the chat. Already got lots of cool people here. Lemon Buddy, how you doing? Mike from NLG and so on. Lots of really cool people here. All right, guys. Why don't we move straight into our first topic? Earlier this week, Epic Games had an Unreal Engine 5 showcase. Epic showed off new features for it, along with what studios and games will be using it. And, it includes a bunch of Xbox game studios. I noticed that a few of them were showing off there. Eric, buddy, why don't we kick things off with you? What did you think of the Unreal Engine showcase? Any standout announcements or any, like, standout showcases or features that you saw?
I guess I missed the part of the because I was trying to catch up on it. So I think I maybe missed the like showcase part. I was watching more of like kind of like the tied up like sizzle reel of what they were showing off like visually. But that looked pretty dope. Because I think with last gen, you're seeing some cinematic visuals like get close to that. But then what you notice kind of like in the background, there's just a lot more detail going on. So like kind of like when they had you could see like the depth of field where it's showing like the fog that's coming in. So and the detail in the characters. So that looks really dope. And we've kind of seen that from Hellblade when we for that. I mean, they backed it up and kept saying like, "Hey, no, that was actual gameplay." When we were saying, "Well, it looks kind of staged. Like, doesn't seem like that could be gameplay." Like we're seeing, okay, when they threw the spear, okay, that was gameplay, but then like everything else wasn't. But I guess the dev, did back that up and corrected people that were thinking that it wasn't. But like we all saw how visually stunning that looked. So that, I mean, we already had kind of a first glimpse that, and I guess the Matrix demo. So it's great that we've seen what it can do, and then we know a lot of their studios the Xbox has, like Redfall is working on it, or working with it. So hopefully we'll see that glimpse of gameplay here in a couple months. So a lot of their projects are already underway with that engine. So it's definitely, I don't know if there's another one that's shown off like that we've seen. Because I think all the other ones seem like they're, I wouldn't say behind, but we haven't seen what they can do. Kind of like with Unity and Frostbite, like from those publishers, like whenever they reveal like their next iteration of their engines. But yeah, it looks, other than I guess Resident Evil 5 with the RE engine, they still do make some phenomenal looking visuals with like RE8. But yeah, this thing looks like it's a different beast. I'm definitely excited to see Coalitions. Hopefully that's them working maybe something on a new IP, maybe like just skipping Gear 6, just one game, give us one game, like a new IP, and then maybe go back to Gear 6. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what's coming from their wheelhouse. But yeah, if anyone else checked it out, I kind of just looked at it more for the visuals, because I thought it was kind of like what the tech demo they kind of had. They'd done one before, I think, with them when they showed off, like I think that was maybe just like visuals or just screen grabs. But yeah, this one looked pretty impressive.
All right, fair comments. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to skip over some things. I had to play catch up as well because I didn't watch anything live per se, but definitely some interesting announcements there. Like you said, the Coalition, they did have a cinematic demo called The Cavern. It was an open world tech test, so you saw like this open area. It's like kind of sandy-ish, maybe a little damp in some areas because I saw some water. There's like windmills in the background, and the lighting looked fantastic with a reflection coming off like the little puddle. Just a large world with great lighting, reflections. And then you got this character in the cavern. He's like a bearded fellow, and there's like some kind of monster in a moving cloud that comes towards him. He's holding like this crystal, reflects, and then the cloud goes away. But very, very detailed character models. I was pretty impressed, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if it's like a Gear 6 or Gears of War 6 hint in any way, or if it's we've heard for a year or two now that they may be working on like a small new IP, maybe, but it's hard to say. I would like to see like maybe them doing like some kind of maybe like a horror game of some sort, some kind of a thriller. It did catch my eye though, even if it was a short tech demo. Centurion Pal, I don't know if you had a chance to check out this Unreal Engine showcase. If you did, though, do you have any thoughts on it? Anything, any announcements or showcases that, like, catch your eye?
I'm still actually trying to watch the entire Unreal 5 engine showcase. I mean, that was actually a really, really good look at, the future of gaming. It is interesting though that you bring up the character models and were they hinting at something? I'm more inclined to think that the people that were working on this little demo over at the Coalition probably more than likely had some experience designing for Gears, and so they're naturally going to gravitate towards things because that's what they're comfortable with. I'm not expecting this to be anything more than just a demo proof of concept, but maybe the artist actually just wanted to see the environments that they have been working on for so long in Gears just kind of rendered in Unreal 5 just to see what it would look like with no intent with it being that this is going to be Gears 6. But damn, when you watch at least watch the opening of the Unreal 5 showcase and just to see the worlds that they have crafted right now in, I guess, what they're calling Unreal 5 early access, I can only imagine what's going to happen to gaming once the Unreal 5 engine has been kind of implemented industry wide across many developers, and it's going to be a great time in gaming. I'm not trying to steal from Pong, but he's absolutely right. This is the golden age of gaming, and it's going far beyond the reaches of who buys this company and who's making this game. We're actually seeing tech that's going to fundamentally change gaming. I mean, if you haven't checked out the Unreal 5 demo for the Matrix, available on most consoles and PC, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because I mean, you need to really see what the future of gaming is going to look for us all. This tech demo has me excited. It's great to hear that a lot of studios under the Xbox banner are using this tech to help push their games to the next level. And in the end, this is going to do nothing but benefit us gamers and consumers. And no complaints in my department.
All right. No, that's some very nice commentary there, Centurion. And it is good to note, like, I do agree with what you're saying with Pong's comments. You know, this well, at least on the graphic front, you know, it is going to be like mind-blowing, like such a fast forwarding of the graphical leap that these consoles are going to take us. I mean, like right now we're not seeing it, but in a couple of years, man, like some of the stuff these engines can do are going to be blowing us away.
Well, it's going to go beyond getting us hyped as gamers. They're also like, there is an underlying reason for a lot of trailers that a lot of people don't ever really think about, but this is also to advertise to future developers or developers that want to work with today's newest tech. This is a way of saying, hey, over here at Xbox, we've got the newest tech. We've got the next thing that's going to be since sliced bread in gaming. If you want to work with what's new and hot, definitely apply to be over here. We've got a lot of studios, and we're growing as a company. And I mean, it definitely will get some people who are in gaming or want to be in gaming looking that direction.
All right. Fair point. And yeah, I mean, you look at some of the games here that are using Unreal Engine 5, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, that's been in development for a couple of years now. Hopefully we see some gameplay for that. Redfall is due to come out, well, actually pretty soon, summer 2022. Well, I think anyways, although I would not be surprised if this vampire game gets pushed back to like September or October. That's just my opinion, but we will see. And even games like Stalker, guys, like do you remember some of those videos for Stalker 2 where they showed off the character models, the clothing, the faces, and they just went into such detail, like the little bit of like stubble on a character's face, the teeth and so on. It's very lifelike. I mean, it's just such an uncanny valley type of thing where it's like, is that real? Is that fake? Like, is that CGI? Oh man, just some of the stuff they're able to do graphically is unreal now. No pun intended with the engine. But let's see, Crusader Bud. I don't know if you got a chance to check out anything with regards to this showcase event for Unreal Engine.
Did.
All right.
I did. I really love industry tech demos. As a computer scientist, seeing these kind of things and seeing how like the back end of games works is just kind of really exciting to me. I know for some people it's boring, but so this was very cool. I love the nanite technology and the lumen technology. Nanite being the super fancy like terrain generation, or not generation, but like how the terrain looks in Unreal 5 for anyone who's seen like all of the previous demos. And lumen is the lighting system. Those both look incredible. But the thing that I'm most excited about Unreal Engine 5 is how quickly it is going to be adopted in the industry. Now, we aren't going to see like the fullness of Unreal 5 unleashed for probably like halfway through this generation, because that's how these things work. It's going to take time for people to develop with all the new tools and all the new technology, because if you truly want a game to utilize them, it has to be like from the ground up, from day one design. But what's really nice about Unreal Engine 5 versus even its predecessors or most other engines is its portability. they designed it in such a way that you can take an Unreal 4 project and import it directly into Unreal 5, and you can then have access to a bunch of the cool new mechanics of Unreal, which things like Lumen and Nanite, they might not be totally applicable because of how kind of baked in those things have to be. But like the new like sound engine and like the modular sound that they showed off, that kind of stuff can be applied pretty easy. Various things with like AI and the stuff that they showed off with, I think they was called like the MetaHumans project, their NPC creation project. That kind of stuff you can implement almost right away. And so we're going to see some newer, really amazing features be adopted maybe within the next year and a half, 2 years, like really soon. And that's really, really exciting to me. And one thing you can probably assume is any game that you've heard that's been announced for Unreal that's coming out, you can pretty safely assume it'll be an Unreal 5 because of that portability and the extra features they can get. Like, I would assume that Avowed from Obsidian is going to be an Unreal 5, as well as The Outer Worlds 2. The Outer Worlds 2 actually might be like in Unreal 5 in its totality from the ground up in it, which is really cool to think about. But yeah, no, I was super, super stoked to see this. I love seeing like those tech demos that the coalition does. Most companies do those kind of things internally to kind of test things and see things as proof of concept, with almost no they'll never see the light of day. Most of them don't even get turned into real games. They just kind of do stuff as proofs of concept. But the coalition has been like partnered with Epic in releasing these kind of things that they're doing, and so it's really cool to get to see these things. Alpha Point was another one that they did a while back. I think that was maybe 6 months ago. That was the first one they did, and seeing these things it's just so cool. And we're gonna get to see some super duper incredible things, and probably soon, real soon.
I hope so. Yeah, there's a lot of like Xbox first party studios using Unreal. Yeah, and actually now you got me really curious about the Outer Worlds too, considering it's just starting. So yeah, everything it would be an Unreal 5 project. Yeah.
And anyone who likes The Witcher 4 is gonna, or whatever untitled Witcher game that was announced, it's going to be in Unreal because they're moving away from their proprietary Red engine, and it's going to be in Unreal, almost certainly Unreal 5.
Oh yeah, and I just remembered too, Arc 2 is supposed to be Unreal Engine 5 as well. So, and that's supposed to be an Xbox exclusive. So lots and lots of projects under like the Xbox Game Studios banner, which is interesting. I mean, I know that they really like the engine, but just interesting. Even Compulsion, if I'm not mistaken. Compulsion.
Yes, Compulsion's is Everwild is supposed to be. I don't know about Perfect Dark.
That one I'm unsure of, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Undead Labs. I'm pretty sure State of Decay 3
yes,
is as well.
It is. Because I'm just going through. I was actually shocked to hear that Redfall was in Unreal Engine. I had to do a double take and look that up when you said it, because they have the Arcane has their own proprietary engine called Void, but it is confirmed to be an Unreal Engine, which is shocking to me.
Yeah.
Because Void is a fork of idTech.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's what like the Dishonored games were made in. The really bad Wolfenstein co-op game was made in.
Okay.
And I think Dishonored was made in it as well. Or not Dishonored, the Deathloop was made in it as well.
Okay.
And then the odd one out was Prey, which was made with Crytek.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But that looked pretty good though.
Yeah. So there are a lot of the industry is moving to Unreal because it's cheaper to use in the long run to use a third-party engine than it is to develop your own in this day and age with how many features you need. It didn't used to be the case. It used to be cheaper to make your own. But like with how many complex features we have with rendering, especially with like ray tracing and things like that, I'm foreseeing a lot of studios moving to at least sharing engines between each other. Like, I think id Tech will be shared a lot within Xbox Game Studios, while Unreal will probably be the primary. Forza Tech might be spread around as well.
Yes. Forza Tech. Damn, actually, which reminds me, I cannot wait to see.
The Forza Motorsport.
I mean, we technically we've seen like first glimpses of it, but I'm like, I want to see the official unveil of the more mature engine. I hope it's in the next couple of months. I really do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of features that we haven't seen at the hardware level used yet. That can that won't directly make the game look better. It will make the game run more efficient, which lets you put more oomph behind it at the same costs. One of the big ones is mesh shading with DirectX 12 Ultimate. It basically your 3D models, the way they're rendered, they change the entire pipeline behind the scenes, and they change how culling works, which is a fancy word for anyone who's watching for basically telling the game if you can't see something, don't render it, and they can do it much more efficiently and much earlier. And we've seen that used in a couple games, so I'm hoping we get to see some of that used too. We know it's compatible with Unreal Engine 5 as well. It's part of like the background of some of their features. So I'm really excited to see those kind of things come out, where things that we didn't think were like possible in rendering, like having games running at like 4K, it's native 4K 60 with a ton of features like ray tracing, could theoretically be possible with these kind of features. So I'm super excited for the future of what games are going to look like, because these Unreal Tech demos, I think for the first time, are actually representative of what games are going to look like this generation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing, right? Through gaming history, especially, in recent years, we see these really cool trailers, right? And they're just CGI kind of demos or trailers, like we were saying. Now it's getting to the point where, again, these games are becoming so nice looking and detailed and just almost lifelike in a lot of ways. I mean, yeah, it's they're a lot closer to what the concept videos are and so forth. Yeah.
Another super exciting thing is Unreal Engine was used in The Mandalorian. I don't know if anyone here in the audience knows that, but Unreal Engine was used for some of the CGI in The Mandalorian. So like this engine's going to go beyond just gaming. It's incredible.
That's true. Actually, yeah, there's a lot of high utility game engines out there right now. I mean, Unreal, obviously, that we're talking about in the chat. Chio Walker, the Unity demo at GDC was also amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff with Unity as well. Unity has really impressed me over the years, I got to admit. Granted, I don't have to work with it, but
they acquired Peter Jackson's CGI production company not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big things coming, I wonder.
Yep.
Damn. That's pretty good. Yeah, they're involved in a lot of things. Like I originally I didn't think much of Unity. I thought that it looked good, but I'm glad to see it have this kind of versatility. But yeah, guys, with Unreal Engine, there are some other cool announcements here. For example, the next Tomb Raider was announced using Unreal Engine 5, being made by Crystal Dynamics, not Eidos Montreal. So, that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to another Tomb Raider game. I don't know about you guys. Any Tomb Raider fans in the house, in the chat? You guys on the panel, you guys looking forward to another Tomb Raider game?
Yes.
All right. How about you, Centurion? Are you a Tomb Raider fella?
Definitely. I've played all the, I guess you would say, when they reimagined Tomb Raider, I really enjoyed, God, what's the gentleman's name over at the initiative now?
Daryl Gallagher.
Daryl Gallagher. I loved what he did for the Tomb Raider series. So, definitely. I also just bought some of the older Tomb Raider games on Xbox, backwards compatibility because they were on sale. So, definitely a Tomb Raider fan.
Mm-hmm. Right. How about you, Eric? With this new Tomb Raider announcement, is this something that you'll be keeping an eye on, or is it just kind of cool?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to hear. Because yeah, like I think my parents bought me Tomb Raider back on the PC back in the early '90s, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that game was kind of trash at that time. Well, I mean, when you go from like Mario 64 and try to play that on like PC, I'm like, this is just kind of lifeless and empty, at least in the first level, and it just kind of bored me and I never picked it up again. um, and then the character models always looked weird, like in the like later, like it was trying to find its. I mean, I guess at that time it was hard to make, good character models. Um, just the way I don't know, just the way they made her look kind of was weird to me, and it just never. Since I had a bad taste in my mouth from like the first set of games from the early '90s, like when they tried to keep it going in the early PS2 days, those games just never. There's so much other things to play that just never appealed to me, and I don't think it even had great reception. Like I think they had okay reception during that time. But when the Tomb Raider 2013, or I guess it was earlier than that, that's when they did the remaster. But uh, when that one, because I actually even skipped it when it was on 360, I paid it no attention because all the other 360 Tomb Raiders I had paid no attention. But this one definitely had more of that realistic look that we started to get from a lot of like the Sony studios, for one, like for Naughty Dog or something like that. It actually had a lot more realistic look to it, not this kind of like cartoonish look to it. So yeah, that's definitely what it was like. Oh, okay, cool. I actually am intrigued by this. I didn't think I'd ever play a Tomb Raider game. And it was just a lot more grittier, a lot, darker. So that definitely had an appeal. So, and that's why I'm excited with what they're about to, do with Perfect Dark with that same Crystal Dynamics team and Daryl Gallagher again, leading the team. So, and I played the first two. I started like the third. I heard that people, kind of not too happy with how the third one goes. So far, I'm okay with that one. Seems pretty good so far, but I guess that was done by Eidos Montreal.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think aren't they the ones that did Guardians?
Yes.
Okay. It's just funny because the Crystal, everybody likes the Tomb Raider games from Crystal, but then they did Marvel and a lot of people hate that game. Whereas a lot of people are, kind of, or, don't, or think, I guess, the Shadow of Tomb Raider entry is like mid, but people are praising how good the Guardians is. So, yeah, hopefully that's just brings it back to form. So, we get more of the series. Because it felt like that some people's reception to it, the last entry was kind of cooled it off, where it might be put on the back burner for a while. So definitely glad they're getting it back out there. So so it makes me think that they're probably not purchasing Crystal Dynamics anytime soon. If that's probably in like early development. So that might be more of just people like, thinking they're just giving them a trial run. They might actually just be, hey, we needed a team, and your next entry of Tomb Raider or next entry from Crystal Dynamics isn't coming super quick. So hey, we're already halfway into this development of this game, and that was probably an offer, easy offer for Square to say, okay, cool. Well, they can just help you bring it home while we're, it's going to be ways off before their next project is out the gate. So
Yeah.
I could see why that deal might have, because at first we were like, why would they just let them go off and do something with Microsoft? But now that probably makes sense, kind of like a bridge until they're, have more to show for the next Tomb Raider. So
Well, I mean, they're more than just one team, right, at Crystal Dynamics.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I
I think
mean,
so. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it shouldn't be an issue. But I mean, you do bring up an interesting point. I mean, it goes into heavy speculation territory. But I mean, even if Xbox were to acquire Crystal Dynamics, depending on like a good showing of Perfect Dark, if they are, I mean, they are doing the new Tomb Raider game. If they are acquired
Mhm.
at some point, I mean, they would have to let them finish the game and then
Yeah.
so on, right? So, but at the
Although they
same
did
time,
have what Rise of the Tomb Raider, time exclusivity for a year. So, but
yeah.
but I guess Phil, said he didn't like to do those anymore. So, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, personally, I don't see, you're spending all that money to keep it off for a year. I don't see why you just wouldn't go all the way and just like get the exclusive for that game period, kind of like what they did with Capcom for Dead Rising 3. So, which is
Yeah, that's true. But then they kind of like they only did like I guess a year exclusive at that point for the fourth one, but
yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited to keep that series going. Like then just like that game, it similar to Uncharted, it does have some differences. Like you're actually like doing like more crafting and it's more. It feels like more of a exploration game, whereas like not that Tomb Raider or not that Uncharted isn't, but Uncharted feels like it just is more, definitely a lot more gotten to like heavier like combat oriented, but yeah, I'm definitely excited to keep that one going. So hopefully get a lot more tombs. I didn't finish the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but yeah, I definitely liked how they stepped up the tombs because that's what we're missing kind of in that reboot.
Yeah.
You only had to mix a little bit of a taste there. So but yeah, hopefully they nail it with this next entry. So
Agreed. Yeah, and I guess just to end this off with Unreal Engine 5, I really do hope that one thing I would like to see more in games is better AI. And because like you look at a lot of like enemy AI these days, they're still lagging behind from where graphics are. I would like to see smarter AI, more competitive AI, and so on. And I hope they would have tools for that in some ways to just you can make the prettiest game ever, and I do appreciate pretty games, don't get me wrong, right? But I would like to see again like AI intelligence kind of amped up a bit more going into the future as well, because we only have so many games that actually have like really decent AI, like Halo. The old Fear games come to mind. There's a few others obviously, but still, even Half-Life, like Half-Life 2 is pretty good AI in my opinion. But well, guys, I think on that note, why don't we move on to another topic and talk some Halo. Speaking about Halo AI and whatnot, 343 has released its first trailer for Halo Infinite Season 2 Lone Wolves, which is scheduled to launch May 3rd. It shows off a couple of new maps, modes, and new Battle Pass items to boot. Now, Centurion, I would love to get your opinion on this, along with everyone else on the panel, of course, but starting off with you. So far, what do you think of Season 2 Lone Wolves? Like, did you like the little mini trailer? Did you catch, like, 343's latest update? Just, share your thoughts with us.
Well, warning everyone, I brought a can of gas and a match with me tonight. We're going to start a fire.
Oh boy. All right. Let's go for it. I like this. It's getting spicy already.
All right, it's going to get very hold on. Let me also turn on the YouTube chat here. Let's keep an eye on this. So, what did I think of it? Me being somebody who listens to the community, who knows a lot of people who live, breathe, and love Halo, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people out here, especially with the whole lone wolf thing. They're obviously doubling down on not having co-op in the campaign of the game. There's no mention of Forge, any of that stuff. And you know, if you really look at it from the side of somebody who is a fan of the Halo that was, and we'll get to that was part here in a second. The Halo that was, everybody is there is a large amount of people who are the fans of the Halo that was, that regrettably had some predetermined conceived notions of what Halo was going to be in their minds. And this is where reality is going to probably reach through the microphone right now and probably have a grip on you. Halo's doing just fine. If you look at it, there's a lot of hype due to a television show that is hitting the crowd, the people that they were looking for, that broader audience. Regretfully, the fans of the Halo that was, regretfully, were not part of that project of being part of the broader audience, because regretfully, you know, the fans of the Halo that was don't outweigh that broader audience that they can bring in, that is actually showing a lot of hype on the internet. I watched a couple videos from people looking at this stuff on the internet. It's actually quite interesting on how that broader audience, that more casual audience, is extremely hyped for the television show. They're hyped for season 2 Lone Wolf on Halo Infinite. Microsoft has done a good job of bringing in newer fans to the Halo franchise, and this is what they were going for with that free-to-play model. This is what they have been doing with everything that they have been trying to do with what the direction they've been wanting to go with the Halo Infinite game. And regretfully, this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what they want for Halo. And this is probably not going to make a lot of people happy. But when you see, like, I caught my boss watching Halo, the television show, at work. Like, he went into a corner and literally turned on a TV and was watching the Halo television show at work. I mean, it's absolutely insane right now, the people that are tuning into Halo. And I really do feel that this is working for Microsoft and they are enjoying it. They are wanting to balance out keeping the fans of the Halo that was happy. But regretfully, we are going to see some things change. And this is where I really see that at this point, I feel that Microsoft or the 343 is catering to a different kind of Halo fan, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. We have heard a lot of these statements and specific wording when it comes to, again, broader audience. We've seen that echoed in recent interviews, especially when dealing with the Paramount show. And you know, the thing about Halo Infinite, I mean, I love the game personally. I really, really do. I'll be honest, I'm kind of bored personally with the multiplayer. I mean, the playlists there's still not a variety when it comes to the playlists, and like it is a live service game and it's free to play the multiplayer. There's a lot of good to it. Again, I love the gameplay, but I mean, the player counts are dropping because people are just kind of bored, to be honest, or just fed up in general. Even some of the most hyped up Halo content creators.
If I could be blunt, this is why I never got into Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, or any of the major free-to-plays, because it was nothing but literally the same game mechanic over and over and over. And I'm ADHD as hell, and I can only do the same repetitious game loop over and over again before I need to move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fair, honestly. Like, it just, I wish that there was more to make me come back to, and that's the whole purpose of a live service game. And I don't know if 343 is really has really transitioned well in
No.
to being a live, like in providing live service content as of
Well,
yet.
let's start the controversy on, let's see what's going to happen with how long this Lone Wolf season lasts. From the people I've listened to, there's the diehards that want to believe 343 was serious, that seasons would only be about 3 to 4 months. But from the people that I listen to that play the game regularly, that actually want Halo Infinite to really knock it out of the park and really bring in some strong player counts, they're having worries that potentially this season is going to last 6 months.
Yes, I have seen that talk echoed around circles as well, and I have seen it around social media, and it is a fair comment. However, again, we will have to see. I honestly, I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead, Crusader.
If they have another 6-month season with as little content as they had in this last season, they will have failed as a live service. Because they are not going to make the money off of the microtransactions if no one's playing, and no one's going to be playing if there's not new things to do.
Mhm.
Because they do not have the battle royale style. What is it? There's a term for the emergent gameplay where every game is somewhat different because of how expansive and like full the lobbies are and how random the loot drops are. If you do not have content to back your live service game up or some style of emergence gameplay, you are going to have very unhappy players and a very small player base. We saw this. I've lived through this twice with Bungie in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. They overcame it, and I'm very hopeful that 343 can overcome it. But they cannot have another 6-month season with as little content as Season 1 had.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, to be fair, in this, like, in the Lone Wolves update in this coming new season, I mean, there is a bunch of good stuff here. They have 2 brand new maps, Catalyst and Breaker. I believe one's an arena map, the other one's a big team battle map, and they do look good just from the quick glimpses that we've seen. Especially,
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yeah, and I was personally looking forward to, again, Breaker, just because it has like the laser that goes through, that shoots through the middle of the map, and I always like it when there's active stuff going on in the map. But
the content looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The content they showed looks good, and it could probably satisfy a 3-month season. It's not gonna satisfy 6 months. So if we had Forge right now, right? If Forge was out and usable at this very moment, I wouldn't even be complaining, because we, the community, could provide the content. The biggest failure on their end was not having Forge ready for launch, not prioritizing it enough. And the fact that it's still not out is probably the biggest thing that's hurting their live service, because they could be sitting back releasing content very lightly, and we could have unlimited new maps because the community can make them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? It's frustrating. It is very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and you make a good point there, because having Forge does alleviate stress off of, again, like the studio just for creating content, because, again, you have the community, making maps, and okay, they have to check these maps, before they obviously go into service, but like, it does give ample variety, right?
And they have custom games, you
Yes,
know? Because
exactly.
I'm sure there's going to be a custom games browser. They added it to, they're still adding it to games in MCC, Because there is a separate team that works on MCC at 343. And they're still updating that game with to make it so that there's browsers for each game, so that you can load in and just find a custom game lobby. And custom games are unlike campaign or match-made games, because you got the weird games, like Duck Hunt or Speed Halo, where you're going down really fast in the Warthog and it goes through the teleporters and someone's trying to kill you with a gravity hammer. Or the Jenga one, where people are using the gravity hammer to try and knock you off the tower,
Oh yeah.
There's so many fun and awesome game modes that offer that it's almost like you're playing like Gary's mod, you know, where you go in and you're playing these random weird game modes that are unlike each other and the rest of the game. And the fact that we don't have that right now is really, really hurting the Halo community. I think a lot of people they'd still be upset, and rightfully so, but they'd be a whole lot less upset, you know, because there'd be interesting and weird things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just in this state where they keep making promises, but they don't actually give us real information about those promises. And they're not really. They keep pushing things back, and we keep kind of having promises broken or bent, you know. And we're in a cycle of we're listening without seeing results. And this is a cycle that again I lived throughout the entire first year of Destiny 2. First year of Destiny 2 was a miserable time to be a Destiny fan. And, you know, Bungie got back and built up that trust again over time. And now they've launched the best piece of content that Destiny's ever had, and everyone's happy. So, you know, 343 can come back from this. It is just very frustrating that we're here. Very frustrating that that so many companies are falling into the same mistake with live services. And it's very frustrating to see a company like 343 do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel kind of bad for guys who are responsible, like dealing with the community, because I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like Sketch,
It's terrible.
like I feel for Sketch, honestly. Like he's had to deal with so much, you know, especially with being like, again, dealing with the community and being like an ambassador for 343 in a lot of ways. You know, it sucks because, you know, you have to give like a lot of answers that are, you know, kind of non-answers in a lot of ways. And, you know, unfortunately, that's just how it is. Even like some of the updates, it's like, you know, they actually, again, to 343's credit, they have covered a lot of stuff. Like we are getting like theater and observer mode, like big bug fixes. There's a new, there's a new battle pass. All the armor that they shown off looks
Yeah, it looks
really,
great.
really sick. I mean, there's like an elite skull on one shoulder pad. I'm like, dude, that is sick. That's awesome. Like they have some really nice armor going on there. And then if you get the paid version of the battle pass, you get like 100 credits if I'm not mistaken.
1,000.
Yeah. The rewards are being tweaked, which is good. And
Yes.
you know, there is a lot of good here. And again, the modes, like we got attrition and King of the Hill coming. I mean, I do wish that King of the Hill was there at launch, but again,
Like, where's Infection?
yeah,
You know?
Infection, yeah.
There's core game modes that are just missing that were in every Halo at launch, you know? And it's like, except King of the Hill actually wasn't. It's funny you mentioned King of the Hill. I don't think King of the Hill was in Halo 4 or 5 at launch.
I'll be honest, I can't remember.
No, it might have been in 4. I don't think it was in 5 though at all. You could modify strongholds to get a King of the Hill like experience, but I don't think it was in 5 natively as King of the Hill. Happy to see it coming back. One of my favorite game modes. Cuz it, you know, and I love Halo's multiplayer. I hope we're getting some new weapons. Have they said anything about new weapons? Did I miss that? Because I know they said more weapons would be coming to the sandbox eventually, but did they say anything about new ones in Season 2?
I haven't seen anything about weapons. I think they talked about
Okay.
I know they talked about armor cores and like being able to like switch out like different armors. They're working on that along with maybe weapon attachments if I'm not
Or-
mistaken as well.
Because I know right now there's a few pieces of the sandbox that are really missing. Like there needs to be a couple other weapons similar to the rocket launcher. We really do need a power weapon shotgun back to fill that kind of
yeah.
sandbox niche. There's a few there's a few pieces of the sandbox that are just kind of missing. The bulldog is good, but it is a primary weapon, right? It's not a one shot. It's not a one shot shotgun, you know, and it's not like what they released was bad, right? The multiplayer is good, but 6 months with no content is frustrating.
Well, yeah, and then you got the recycled events, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just, you know, I mean,
You know.
like don't get me wrong, some of the stuff is cool. It's just, yeah, they're not really given like again, like you look at the maps, right? These are the first maps coming in May. The game released in December, like early December. It's, you know, going on what, like 5 months without like new maps. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, but when you're constantly playing on the same big team battle maps and whatnot, you know, a couple of months, it just like you don't feel like playing on the maps anymore because you're kind of bored.
It has a very small selection of maps compared to previous Halo games. You know, and they are developing during a pandemic, sure, but the pandemic is not an excuse to release an unfinished product or to have a poor business model and following. It's an excuse to delay. Absolutely 1000% an excuse to delay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an excuse to release an unfinished product. Or in this case, they did release a finished product. Like the multiplayer was finished at launch. Relatively speaking, game modes missing, arguably you could consider unfinished. But if their entire scheme is a 10-year service game for the multiplayer, not having content for 6 months to me is they did not plan it well enough, and it should have been delayed until they could have had enough of a backlog of content and a stable development scheme.
Keep in mind too, like they also talked about again in the latest update, the career progression system. You know, the one like where we actually have ranks and whatnot. It's currently in a design phase, which again, it's good. I'm happy to hear that they're working on that. And again, credit to 343 there. But again, it's like another thing where it's like, well, no date, so it's like, you know, is that gonna be?
Might as well be forever because they've been delaying features. You know, like delaying co-op. They delayed co-op once and they delayed it again. They delayed Forge once and they basically delayed it again. You know?
Yeah.
So,
I think they'll be okay soon, like especially once they get Forge out and co-op out.
yeah, I agree with you.
Especially being free. Like that's the one thing they do have is that if people had to like buy it and they weren't, you know, getting this content quicker, then people would be like really pissed. But with it being free, people are still going to be like, okay, that content's there now. Okay, let me, let me check that out. That actually looks pretty cool. Let me jump back in. So it's a little bit easier. It's like when I was trying to go back, because I was a huge Destiny player for one, and for the first part of two, that first raid. But now it's been just hard to jump back in because it's like, I don't want to give you money again because I just feel like we're gonna just go into the same boat. And not to mention Bungie's onboarding is terrible.
It's awful.
For people coming back. It's like you must not want new players. You must only want the hardcore that stuck around, because I tried, even I was a hardcore player, and I'm like, I'm completely lost. I have so many things and don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna spend $30 or $40 to get the expansion just to feel lost and feel like let down again.
Yeah, and you're right there. Them having anyone being able to come back at any time for free and having full access to the multiplayer content is a huge boon for them as a service game. Huge boon.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, you know, it's great that again, it's very accessible. Like, no, it's fantastic that the game is free to play. It just again,
and you know people are gonna come back to it because think about Factions 2. It's been 2 years since the release, almost 2 full years since the release of The Last of Us 2, and no one's even talking about that. That 2 years went by. I mean, that was an incomplete game if we're gonna, they promised it in 2018. They said it was gonna be there for Last of Us 2. It wasn't. But see, no one really, not too many Sony fans care about Factions 2. So, except for the hardcore that happened to play it on the first game. But a lot of people love Halo's multiplayer. So, understandably so, they're voicing their displeasure with like, hey, I want, all this content there day one. you know, from the from Forge to every game mode imaginable, elites as playable. You know, they pretty much like how you have Smash Ultimate that like literally gave you everything that we could ask for.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, they want that in this entry, but
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, the playable elites is something a lot of the hardcore have wanted for a while now, and it would be cool, honestly. And
I
having,
think it'll be back.
yeah, and having playable elites would lead to, a lot of other situations, depending how they do it, of course. Like for example, I would love to see Invasion back personally, but again,
Yep.
you need elites for that, and you can have such a cool spin on it too. Oh no, it would be so cool, especially with
Oh,
Forge. If Forge is what it's looking out to be, especially I've seen some of the leaks. Like it's gonna be something special. Go ahead, Crusader.
yeah, I think elites are gonna come back simply because it's an easy monetization scheme, right? It just is, people want it, they can sell it, I do think elites have a huge chance of coming back down the line. Um, because I always played as an elite myself, you know. I played as the Halo Reach limited edition one. Was it the officer?
Oh
I don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's not the Zealot, is it?
No, it wasn't the Zealot. In the campaign, they were all orange.
Yeah.
They were all orange colored in Halo Reach's campaign. I don't quite remember the exact name of the skin, but like I would be 100% down to 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 come back for a season of Infinite where the battle pass was all elite themed. You know what I mean? Like, because our first one was Reach themed, this next one's like Lone Wolf themed. Yeah, like season 6 could be like elite themed, and this is when we're introducing elites as the customization option, and the entire battle pass is elite themed. Like that's a big thing that they can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. And actually, did you guys see that the Master Chief Collection? They're adding Flood Firefight to ODST from the looks of it.
I thought that was already added.
I don't know. I mean, I saw something pop
I know
up.
that was confirmed a while ago. Let me look. I thought that was added in like the last update.
Mm-hmm. No, well, I mean, I'll be honest. I hadn't really checked up on the Master Chief Collection in a little while, but I saw some news about Flood Firefight with ODST. So, I mean, I know that they had announced it, but I wasn't sure if it was out yet, to be honest. So,
Yeah, it was flighted a few months ago, and it's officially launching very soon into MCC.
mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's cool. Like again, like I'm glad that they have teams working on it. I'm pretty I'll be definitely going back to that at some point, but yeah, guys, I mean, I think we've talked about like all we really needed to with again the Halo like again the season 2 update Lone Wolves, but yeah, again, I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm looking forward to the new maps and the content. I just wish that it was a little more regular personally, but again, we all have a say in this, obviously. Uh, but yeah, guys, why don't we move on to some other news? Actually, the last topic for tonight. I know that a bunch of people in the chat would like to hear us talk about this. I know that the panel's probably really jiving to get into it. And there are signs that a popular RTS franchise could be making its way to the Xbox consoles soon, which, when you say RTS, it's like, I wonder what that could be. And a few days ago, Rise of Nations was spotted on the Xbox spring sale on consoles, which is interesting because, again, when I was browsing the sale personally, it was just kind of sticking out at me like a sore thumb because, well, I mean, we haven't seen an announcement for it, at least as of yet. I mean, it's just kind of weird. I was like, weird. I mean, there wasn't even like a price for it. Just again, very odd. But Crusader, I'll go to you first on this. What do you make of this appearance of Rise of Nations on the Xbox console store? Like, it's just kind of weird seeing it pop out in this sale.
Yeah, the Microsoft Store is like there's a meme on the r/gaming leaks and rumors subreddit that the Microsoft Store is the #1 leaker because listings come up all the time that accidentally leak things. Like we had several of the games that got added to the backwards compatibility list back last November, all showed up on the store like a month ahead of time. So I do think there's a very good chance that something is happening here, right? Um, it seems like Microsoft wants to revive a lot, if not all, of its old IP in some way. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they do own that IP, right?
They do, yeah. I think they bought it from. I can't remember if it was Big Huge Games or something. I remember there was like an IP sale or something because the studio, I think it went out of business if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yeah, they own Rise of Nations, yeah, and they did a remaster of it a few years ago.
Yeah, so, I think it's very likely that it is among a few RTS projects that are in development over at Microsoft right now. I believe that they're going to probably port this to console, probably with lackluster controller support, but full mouse and keyboard support.
Right. Yeah.
I also we know from a very credible data miner on the Microsoft Store that a entry had appeared on the store for Age of Empires 4 for a test in the Insider program. It was the same code name that Age of Empires has. I can't remember the code name off the top of my head right now, but it looked like they were testing it for console as well. So my guess is that they are planning to, in some way, put a bunch of classic RTSs onto Xbox, as well as the new Age of Empires 4. And then we also have had a lot of rumblings about an Age of Mythology, something happening with it.
Correct.
So that there could be a port of it. There could be another remaster of it because the first remaster was not well received, and that was basically the whole reason why World Edge was created in the first place, as a quality control production studio for the Age of series. And who knows? We could see Age of Empires 1 and 2 even, because the new re-releases are all designed for DirectX 11 and 12. So they in theory could run natively on the console. They would just need controller support of some kind, very basically, to allow them to run, and everyone would just play them with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting because a few hours ago, right? I mean, I thought, okay, well, it's just some kind of a bug or something. They must have seen that it was up there by mistake. They'll take it down, right? They'll take it out of the sale. Again, a couple hours ago, it's still there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a price or anything. It just says view game. But I mean, if it
wasn't one of their accounts that said like, "Hey, I see you guys like saw that." Like it seemed like they referenced it. I think it was one of their official accounts.
I think it was. Well, I think the Age of Empires account had a little interesting take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I think that's what it was. And the Age of Empires account, the Twitter account there, it was hinting at something for the 14th. So I'm assuming April 14th. That's only 4 days away. Was that?
Yeah, it's this week.
Yeah. So that's what,
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. I mean, yeah, just before Good Friday there. So I don't know, guys. Should we expect like some kind of I don't want to say a showcase by any means, but do you think that we'll get like an Xbox Wire announcement or something with like a grouping of a couple of Xbox owned like RTS titles being like, okay, these are coming to console now?
I think that is a safe bet if they are being included in this announcement on Thursday, right? If we do not hear anything by the middle of this month, I would assume to not hear anything until the showcase, the actual like Xbox showcase. Only because if you're that close, why not include it? You know what I mean? more content for like a bigger variety of people. So if we were to hear about it, I would say we'll hear about it next week or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Centurion Pal, I don't know if you're interested in RTS games as a whole. I mean, I know that you are very strategic in some of your gaming habits, but what do you think of this little pop up here that we saw of Rise of Nations? Do you agree? Do you think that we'll see a console announcement soon, or is this something that you're interested in as a whole?
Well, let's just be honest, okay? I got to be in the mood for an RTS. I have played them. I mean, let's just I think, would Jurassic World Evolution count as an RTS?
It's more of a park builder.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's where
Well,
I just really,
it's strategic.
I don't know.
It's strategic.
I don't know.
It's a strategy. It's a strategy game. It's just like you're not. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're not playing against anyone, right? Like you're not playing against the AI. You're building up the.
Right, but I've also played Civilization.
That's closer. Civ's turn-based though.
Yeah, turn-based. See, that's
so
where
you're in the ballpark with the two of them combined.
But that just goes to show I'm like reaching on like, have I played an RTS? I think, huh?
Halo Wars?
I did play Halo Wars.
There you go.
Definitely Halo Wars. I enjoyed Halo Wars. I just got to be in the mood for it. Definitely I enjoy games that do make you think. Hell, I even get down for a good game of chess sometimes. But when I see the hype you guys had, I mean, my phone was going off, so I had to see what all the hype was. And it gets me excited as a gamer when I see other people getting excited for gaming. I'm not going to go down that path of like, oh, this is great for gaming. You know, we're going to bring other games over. Other than, how about, let's just say that it is entirely possible for games like this to show up. I actually saw it on the spring sale. I clicked on it to see what it was. Right now it looks like it's only PC only. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. But
Yeah.
again, it's on the actual Xbox store like sale itself. Like usually again the PC specific games don't show up on there.
Yeah, which means it has a console listing behind the scenes to some extent. Whether that's by accident or not, but usually if it's by accident, like Invader said earlier, it would have been removed by now. Which just means that, to me, it's a little bit more evidence that something's more likely than not.
Right, but I've personally seen like the Prince of Persia on the Xbox 360, the cell shaded one. You remember the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Don't ask me why, but that game pops up on so many sales. But you can't buy it, at least last time I checked, you couldn't buy it off of the Xbox One store directly. You actually had to cross over to the Xbox Marketplace, which was the 360 store, where you were allowed to buy it digitally, and then it carried over through backwards compatibility into your digital locker to the Xbox One. But for some reason, I could not physically purchase that game on my Xbox One for the life of me.
That has to do with like a licensing issue. The Ballad of Gay Tony for GTA 4 is similar to that. They still those games are still unique though in that they have the actual Xbox One listing in existence. You just can't purchase it through that listing. And for the 360 games that are like that, it all has to do with how they were licensed in the first place for sale, and due to stupid licensing laws and issues, they can't be relisted on the new store for proper sale.
See, that's where it gets really confusing and really silly complicated. But I've heard rumors that Age of Empires is coming to the console. It would not shock me in any way for this to show up on the console. And hey, it's good to see Microsoft is reaching back and, you know, using IP that they already have. It's an established IP. From the way I've heard you guys talk about it, other people on social media talk about it, it's obviously a beloved IP. So let's it's definitely going to be interesting going forward to see how gaming is. Again, once again, we talked about earlier, gaming is once again changing. We're starting to see consoles blurring the lines between PC and console, and we're going to start seeing different types of games appearing on console.
Well, remember when we first saw Flight Simulator get announced on the Microsoft stage a couple of years ago? They're like, "Oh, that'll never come to console," and of course, it had a PC release first. Uh, but then, yeah, a year later, you saw the console announcement. It's not impossible, guys. It's certainly not. I mean, obviously, mouse and keyboard for RTS is, well, it's more preferred, but there are good examples of controller gaming with our RTS controls. I mean, you look at, again, the Halo Wars games, Iron Harvest as well. I've heard a lot of good things about that one.
That's in my backlog.
Same, actually. Same. I feel bad about not getting to it, but it's supposed to be really good. But yeah, I could see them do it. I can't remember. I know we've talked about like mouse and keyboard on the console, but is it available for it yet?
Yes, has been for. I think it's available on Xbox One games even. It has to be implemented by the developer, so it's not native to every game, right? Like, for example, like Rainbow Six Siege and Destiny 2 don't support it, but Halo MCC and Halo Infinite do. It is all up to the developers to choose whether or not they want to include it in their game. I think there's like 60 or so titles that you can play mouse and keyboard with. I always play Minecraft on console with mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, again, I'm not like, I mean, we talk about it on the show, but sometimes we forget, oh, did that launch for the console or not, and so on and so forth. Like, I'll admit, like, some things I am out of the loop on. It's hard to keep up to date on everything, but okay, that's great to know. But I mean, again, I'm a huge RTS fan. I really like, I don't think I've ever played Rise of Nations, but it's always like, I've always had like an eye on it personally. So when I saw Microsoft buy the IP and do a remaster of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I would really like to check it out. So far I haven't, since it's on, I think it's on Game Pass for PC if I'm not mistaken, but it's a highly acclaimed RTS game, so I am really, really interested in seeing it on console if that's the case. But can you guys imagine if there was just some like random intern and like that just like turned it on by accident? I was like, oh crap, what did I just do? I mean, it's interesting that came on and it wasn't like Age of Empires 4, because I did skim through the spring sale again, and I was like, is Age of Empires 4 on there? Is any other specific like known PC game on there? And it's like it was only Rise of Nations, which is interesting. So kind of obscure, but at the same time pretty cool.
it being smaller is actually probably why it had less quality control around it. If it is truly coming, right? Because like that, the same thing was true with the like those 360 games that were ported. The games that were like leaked and you could see as coming like a couple weeks before were not very big or flashy games. I think the biggest one of them was like Dead or Alive like Ultimate Edition or something like that. But like there was like this weird like Crusader game unaffiliated with my name. I'd never even heard of it before that leak had come out. And it all comes back to like what we were talking about with Centurion, with it being so like complicated and wonky behind the scenes, that there's so many, because there's so many stores interconnected with Microsoft, because the 360 store is directly tied to the Xbox One store, is directly tied to this weird online web store for the 360, and then you have the Microsoft store and the Xbox PC store, which are like interlinked. So listings get screwed up all the time, and it is glorious to watch.
Going on that Xbox 360 store, man, is like suiting up and getting in the DeLorean and going back in time. You're just like, what the hell? We actually shopped here?
It's how, I was looking at it the other day when I was trying to buy the Ballad Gay Tony, and I was like, how on earth did this UI exist for that long?
It's like
It's
going to
awful.
that shopping mall you grew up in, but they didn't change one damn thing from when you were a kid, and you walked in there like, wow, whoa, this place looks retro.
Yeah, which makes me appreciate the Xbox One and Xbox Series stores even more so today.
Their new store that came out, like, what was it, within the last like 2 years is great. The newer one, I think it released like maybe a couple months before the Series X did.
Yeah. I know which update you're talking about. And if I may say, just to interject on that too, because I've been playing a lot more on my PlayStation 5 as of late, and comparing the interfaces between the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, man, Xbox, like, they just have such a better organized interface, if I might say, like, just leaps and bounds. I'm surprised I don't hear more complaints about it from the PlayStation guys.
My biggest complaint about the PlayStation Store is that wish listing just doesn't work for some games. Like, I legitimately cannot add them to my wish list.
Oh, really?
It's
And
also kind of unorganized.
yeah, it's jumbled all over the place. Like, I was trying to add, I think it was Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut. I was trying to add that to my wish list, and I was trying to add, I think it was Until Dawn to my wish list. And I legitimately, for the life of me, that there was no button for it, where the button existed for other games. Like, I took screenshots and compared them side by side, and I was like, the button's just not there. Where is it? Why can I not wish list this game?
Yeah, but even just the general layout of it, I mean, maybe it's because I'm so used to just, again, the Xbox systems and interface being my primary console. I mean, maybe I don't want to say I'm biased. It's just, I mean, I am used to it, right? So I'm used to, like, again, just the navigating it. But it's just, to me, everything is so clear. I mean, even just the way that they have, again, just the way that, again, all the apps and the games are separated. Like, there's a everything just makes a lot of sense, right? Whereas, I don't know, the PlayStation one, just, to me, everything just seems kind of all over the place. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't like how it's organized personally. I really hope, I know that they just did a big update not too long ago, but I hope that there's more coming, because, oh man, I don't know. I just to me it's not good. Not good at all. Metal Gear says no need to wish list until dawn. It's free on PS Plus. Oh yeah, that's true. You can download it in that collection.
Yeah, and this was so with Until Dawn specifically. That was before I was subscribed to PS Plus. I am now, so that's no longer an issue for me. And I also at this point have bought Ghost of Tsushima. It was just the fact that there are like a not like insignificant number of games that you cannot add to your wish list that I would love to be able to like add to my wish list so I get notified when they go on sale. So yes, yeah. So who said that in chat?
Metal Gear Squall.
Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, I am subscribed to PS Plus now and have grabbed almost every game on the PS Plus collection that I actually want in my PlayStation library.
Just being a good guy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. People in chat who are helpful and point things out, you are the MVPs.
Oh yeah, and hey, we appreciate our chat. Definitely, you guys are rock stars. Honestly, like, I love the commentary in the chat. Honestly, like, you guys, it's great always having you guys with us each and every Sunday night. You guys are killer, honestly. From Dreadpool to What Just Happened, Other Zinc, 108 Dragons, Hey Lemon, and so on. So many of you, Fastback, and so on, Midway Monster, lots of other people from across the world. Thank you all for jamming out with us each and every night. I can't say enough about you guys. But let's Let's say, well, we'll end this off, guys. But Eric, I just wanted to double check with you on Rise of Nations again, this leak and whatnot. Like, I don't know if you're really interested in RTS games. Is this like something you would check out if it ever came to console?
Maybe. I don't think I've spent a ton of hours playing RTSs, but I don't think I've ever played any like civilization based ones. I was big on like StarCraft back in the day, and I think it was Warcraft 3, which was cool because it kind of had like that glimpse of World of Warcraft where you'd like uh build up your, you know, your base or whatever, and then you'd build up your to get to your actual like hero, and then you could level up that one character, wreaking havoc. And so that part, so I don't know if I would touch this one just because I hadn't really touched the other ones in the past, except for
Right.
playing, I think, yeah, I played like Dune way back on the PC, and then StarCraft and World of Warcraft, or not World of Warcraft, but like Warcraft 3. Um, so maybe I give it a shot if it was like in Game Pass and try it out. Um, but I'd be definitely excited if they, bring over some of those with this Activision Blizzard deal, bring those over to like Game Pass or whenever they make like newer entries in the future, or bring over like StarCraft 2 to Game Pass or on the Xbox. That'd be cool. But I might skip this one. But
And that's fair, but it does kind of make you wonder too because of the Activision Blizzard buyout. Like once everything's done there, they're already, they've obviously been working on their PC presence and bringing over again some of these classic titles to the console. In a lot of ways, makes sense. And yeah, can you imagine like bringing over like StarCraft or something to the consoles? Oof, exclusively on the Xbox systems. Oh man, that'd be killer. But
yeah, no, definitely.
yeah, we'll have
It
to.
feels like StarCraft 2 came and went, and then I'm sure people still play it, but I feel like it didn't make near as big of a splash. Whereas I think if it feels like on Game Pass, that would be a cool thing for people to check out, and people might actually get into that.
Well, Diablo's done well on console, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because a lot of people weren't
yeah.
around for StarCraft. That was like back in the 90s. Back I was playing that on dial-up. So.
Oh, I remember those days. I remember StarCraft and playing lots of Tiberian Sun, Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun. That was my jam back in the day. So, I remember the days of dial-up. Oh man, rather forget it personally.
They need to finish StarCraft Ghost. If they could announce that once they get this Activision deal, I feel like that'd be not at the same degree of like when they announced like Final Fantasy VII remake, but like if they actually did that and it like our first glimpse of it like looked good, and they like brought that from, because that was an anticipated game.
Yeah.
You pick up your EGM magazine or whatever game magazine you had at that time, and they were showing you like early screenshots of like StarCraft Ghost, and people were like really hype about it, and then it just got canceled. So
wasn't a good portion of that game done though? Like
it looked like it.
Yeah.
Like because it looked like you were the, correct me if you were a ghost, so you would have been the Terran or whatever.
Yeah, it was a girl,
human
right?
race. Yeah. Because you were one of the characters where like it's one of the classes that you can, one of the infantry guys that you can build that basically can cloak themselves. A lot of times you would use them to like sneak in to the enemy bases and like paint a laser, because then you could shoot off a nuke if you were like the human class, but you just needed like a ghost to paint the laser long enough and not get caught. But like that ghost class, they were hyping this up of like it looked like a third person like stealth game. But from the, you can look up the screenshots because there was a ton. I remember in like magazines of like it looked like a done game. like, hey, here's your
Mhm.
preview of, how they do like those early previews, like, oh, here's this, screenshot of the game, one of the levels. But yeah, I don't know why they never, or they probably just didn't figure that one out, and then they just kind of put it probably on the back burner. And they probably were making so much money once, because it was around that same time. Or no, I guess it was it was a few years later when World of Warcraft hit, but they were making so much money by the time that thing hit. Like, I feel like they got into the mode that like Rockstar was with like Grand Theft Auto, of like, hey, we don't really need to make too many games at this point. Maybe we'll make another Diablo, which they did finally years later with Diablo 3. But once they had that World of Warcraft, they didn't really have to, do much else.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, when you look at Xbox and even again, whether it be PC or console, they want that content, right? So can you imagine they pull it out, they dust off the cobwebs, and I mean, obviously they would have to. I mean, I would imagine they would have to start from scratch because that's what, like an early 2000 game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
2002.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if the idea is still there and everything kind of still holds up, then I mean, get the right team behind that. Yeah, I mean, I could see Phil greenlighting something like that because I mean, well, why not, right? I mean, they like having variety in their portfolio moving forward. So I would, yeah.
And you could actually, I think that's why people were hyped about it, because it was actually bringing, like, instead of it from the God view that you'd play an RTS from, you'd be getting that world of StarCraft kind of like on the, much closer up, combat. So it, like, they could do, there's like infinite ideas of like, combat and things they could do with that game. So I think that would, and they would already have a huge, even though it's kind of like a new concept of the IP, it already has like a huge household name behind it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, and I think a lot of people would be hyped to see that offshoot come back to life. But okay, guys, I think we're done with that topic. But I guess we'll see maybe towards the end of the week if Rise of Nations or some other PC centric titles get announced for console. We shall see how that goes. But gentlemen, I think that concludes tonight's show. I gotta say, fun discussions on all our topics. Those, of course, being Unreal Engine 5, the showcase they had, Halo Infinite Season 2, and Rise of Nations showing up on the Xbox spring sale. Mistake or more to it? I guess we'll find out soon. But again, guys, thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. It's great seeing you all stop by in the chat, as I was saying earlier. Remember that if you enjoyed our chat tonight, then consider dropping a like, sharing the show out, and subbing to the channel. Now, moving over to the outros for the panel. Let's start off with Centurion. Buddy, hey, loved your stuff tonight. Where can everybody follow you at?
Well, gentlemen, it's been a great show. Enjoyed conversating with you. Thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us. For those interested in finding me, please check me out at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter. And you can also find me here every Sunday night on the TXR Podcast with these amazing gentlemen. And tomorrow, Monday, it will be me and Stubbs Gaming on plastic platforms. Oh my God, too many P's. Basically, we're going to be discussing the games we're playing, and yeah, we're going to have a little fun. We're even going to discuss some WrestleMania.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love what you and Stubbs have going on there. That's some, I know you've had a couple of shows already with that show, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, we just enjoy having conversations, and we just, want to keep it fun, and hence the idea of plastic platforms, because at the end of the day, they're nothing but a piece of plastic that actually should just bring us joy and entertainment, and we should not, for some reason, be getting stressed out and having drama over consoles.
Come on, man. You're missing half the fun. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, totally. No, I get it. Guys in the chat, everyone tuning in, definitely check that out. I recommend it personally. But yeah, guys, moving on down the list here. Eric, buddy, Shockley. I really enjoyed your takes tonight. Very well spoken. Where can everybody listening and follow you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, good show tonight. Yeah, we'll definitely see what gets revealed this week. But yeah, good show tonight, and talk to you later.
Alrighty. And moving down here, Crusader, buddy. Hey, loved your stuff tonight. Where can these fine people follow you at?
People can follow me at Crusader3456 on Twitter, where you will see me talking about news and my general thoughts on basically anything. And you can find me at u/Crusader3456 on Reddit, where I do a lot of work on r/gaming leaks and rumors to make sure that anything that I can find online, leaks or rumor-wise, is posted and aggregated when need be.
All right, good stuff. Definitely check that out. All this information is listed down below too in the description. So if you didn't catch that, just look down below. And just to remind everybody, MLD couldn't make it, unfortunately. He's just under the weather at the moment, but he should be back for the next show. And yeah, Timmy, obviously couldn't make it as well. He would have liked to be here, but he will be back for the next show as well, because everybody misses the Tim Dog, right? But to close out the show tonight, everyone can follow my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming. I've been posting Kirby and the Forgotten Land gameplay recently. I would like to get out a review as soon as I'm done with it. Fantastic game, by the way. And you guys can also follow me on Twitter at Invader_1986. Really great show tonight, and we look forward to seeing you all here next time. Later, everyone.